Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, War Rabbit, and today we are going to be going over this weekend's tournament lists with a tile perspective like normal. About 5 lists today, and this weekend really seemed to be less singles and more major team tournaments like the ATC 8-player team event. I won't be going over the team tournaments because it's a whole different ball game when you're in a team event, so let's just get into it. The first tournament I'm going over is going to be the Beach Clash Major 2025. It's definitely in Europe somewhere, probably in a Scandinavian country. The list I'm going over today, other than this, is 10th place with, I believe, Jan Hagenroth. That's probably German, but I'm going over this for a very special reason, because let's just skip to all the other fluff. He took a Stormsurge. So let's get into this list. And so all of this is, keep in mind, everything you have is to protect the Stormsurge. So he came into Montka, he put Strategic Conqueror on his Commander Enforcer, obviously. So I believe that is, oh my gosh, how do I not remember Strategic Conqueror? If I remember correctly, that's the increase objective control. It might, sorry about the flashbang. I really need to figure that one out, how to prevent that from happening. Let's see, Strategic Conqueror. Yep, you get to throw on additional objective control on a specific objective, so you get more OC when you have your units on there. Next, he's gonna have an ethereal, obviously. So you have the missile commander, Cadre Fireblade, and a Kroot Warshaper. Kroot Warshaper's got strike swiftly. It's one of the cheaper than putting in a Cadre Fireblade, especially if you're putting it in a Kroot Carnivore squad, because that means you can throw the Kroot squad and the 2 units he's sending forward together. So you kind of have a massive forward deploy of infantry, which is pretty neat, especially with stealth suits. So you got your Cadre Fireblade, he's going into a breacher team. You got your commander with missile pods, most likely going into a missile knife squad, Strategic Conqueror. He throws that down on either a mid-board objective or the enemy home objective to try to run that down, which probably the home objective is probably not a good idea. Coordinated exploitation, I saw this, and when I was just going over some lists, and so he's doing the combo where you slam an ethereal into a strike team, and you have them guide, and then give whatever you're shooting sustained hits, which is fair. It's something you can do, but it's just, what is that? That's 75. So it's 100. That's 90 points plus 75. That's 165 points just to give, what is it, sustained 1 every time you guide. So it's a really costly thing, but I believe he came in 10th, if I remember correctly. He came in 10th, so it did pretty good. So I believe this is like a 30 or 40 player tournament. Let's double check. Yeah, it's a 40 player tournament, came in 10th. I'm surprised he did this well, especially with this combo, because this ethereal is going to be guiding the Stormsurge. I don't know if this tournament had the new rules yet where you don't get to double guide, because if this enhancement when you can guide in the same unit with a stealth team is really good, but it's not worth 165. Now it's really not worth 165. Kroot Warshaper is being window slammed into your Kroot Carnivores, unless he's got a Kroot Carnivore. So you just throw him in a Kroot Carnivore squad. He's just there to give strike swiftly, and you're trying to move your breacher team, and probably he might be starting his his missile knife team on the board. He might be, probably not, but I don't know what else you're going to be throwing. You're going to be scout moving. Obligatory double stealth team. You need at least 2. If you don't take 2, you're just going to lose. They're the only things actually useful. So they both got, obviously they get homing beacons. So like you have the stealth teams. You could, if you leave the crisis teams in deep strike, you have this homing beacon threat that your opponent has to deal with on turn 1, but it just really depends on how things go. Double Vespid is actually pretty good, or just Vespids in general in Montka, because there's that one stratagem that if you kill a Tau unit that isn't Kroot, your entire army gets benefits against it, and Vespid count for that, so you can just do that instead of like your Kroot Hounds. Kroot Hounds, they're just idiots that run up the board, move block, do stupid things, hide behind a wall, prevent a knight from moving through it, stuff like that. They can't land on the other side of the wall because they don't have movement now, because you got 5 Kroot Hounds hiding in a ruin somewhere, preventing your crisis team. You need this because that's where your commander's going in. Commander's like half the output of the team or something like that. I forget the math. Double piranha. They're going to be. You could probably scout move these, to be honest, instead of that lone breacher team. He's got devilfish. So you could scout the devilfish. I could see you actually scouting the piranhas, especially turn 1, because you can get some turn 1 seeker missiles with that 14-inch move. Plus that 6-inch, you can get almost a 6-inch. If you roll high and get that 6-inch advance, 20-inch plus a 7-inch, was it a 6 or 7-inch scout move? Let's see, is it a 6 or 7 on that strike swiftly? 6-inch scout move. So you're getting a minimum of 20-inch move on those piranhas, and you can just throw 2 seekers and then guide with either you get a lethal hit or something. That'd be kind of nuts, especially if you can somehow get that that coordinated exploitation, ethereal, and line of sight of something, because that's actually like the sustained ones is actually pretty big, but it just is what it is. Yep, Riptide's twin plasma. I've already said it before last week, but I don't like the twin plasma over the twin linked smart missiles, because twin linked smart missiles, I believe, get 3 shots rerolling wounds versus the 1-shot rerolling wounds of the plasma. Plasma doesn't have rapid fire, so it's just one basically thunder hammer shot that's just going to bounce off. So it's like, do I want to get some ablative, anti-infantry fire, or do I want a 1-shot that's going to bounce off an invuln? And it's just kind of up there. And then the big beefy boy himself, the Stormsurge. If Knights want to bring Titans, so can we. So that's kind of, I don't know if this is just a meme or if he's like actually, because he got 10th in a 40-person tournament, so that he did okay. Wasn't super amazing outing. He didn't top the tournament with like a Stormsurge and like his children, the 2 Riptides. But yeah, Stormsurge with the new army rules, especially because he doesn't actually need the Stormsurge doesn't need stealth teams if he's targeting a vehicle, because he gets the full reroll to hit and wound. Let's double check that profile here. Flashbang incoming. Oh no flashbang. Let's see, it should be, he's got heavy walker. Yep, you can all hit roll modifiers. Where is it? Oh no, it's Titan Killer. Ugh, never mind. He does my bad. I thought that was vehicle. Yeah, no, Titan Killer is not what I thought it was. It's definitely good again into enemy knights, especially like right now. I got Stormsurge with full rerolls to hit is pretty good. And you ignore to hit modifiers. I could have sworn that was full rerolls to hit and wound against vehicles. Maybe that's a different thing, or I'm just completely off. But yeah, the I think I just Mandela effect, just completely off on that one. But yeah, full rerolls to hit against knights is pretty good with those Stormsurges, because you hit somebody without an invuln with the where is he, the pulse blast cannon. It says, oh, do you have an invuln? Did you fail your invuln save? What was it? It's a 24 damage, right? Let's see, pulse blast cannon. Yeah, it's a d6 plus 3 damage. Either you get the 12-inch, you get 2 shots, or the 6 shots for the 4 damage. You don't have the invuln, you just lose all your health, and that you can down a knight in a single turn. So yeah, congratulations. Let's see if we can say the name again. Jan Hagen Roth for placing 10th at the Beach Clash Major, and just to give a shout out to first place, Andre Fisher, who took Chaos Knights to first place finish. It looks like they're doing WTC scoring, so there's a little bit of WTC scoring right now is kind of in a bad spot because of challenger cards. So now the next tournament we're going to be going into is Brawl in the Hall in 2025. We're going to be looking at the first place list here with Matt Estrada from Vanguard Tactics. I do believe Vanguard Tactics is a YouTuber or YouTube channel or team on YouTube, so give them a look out. I'm pretty sure it's them. It could be horribly off. It might be like a different part, but I'm pretty sure Vanguard Tactics is a YouTube channel. So this one's a little bit different from what I've seen recently, which is like 3 to 4 big knights and then some armigers and maybe some allies. They're just doing the tried and true double knight that we had before the points reductions. So now they have even more armigers. So I think this is something that most armies, if you tech into killing 4 big knights and they just slam down this many armigers, you're just kind of screwed, right? Especially because he's taking Mythic Hero. So the Mythic Hero is there to give the bondsman ability to even more armigers. So you can kill this knight, but the armigers are still just going to run around the board doing armiger things, because they're basically get the, what was it, the big knights have, I think, a 6+ fuel dependency. Pretty sure it's a 6+ fuel line on the big knights, or all units. All Imperial Knights. Do armigers count as Imperial Knights? Oh, they got the faction keyword, Imperium Armiger. Let's double check that. I'm pretty sure armigers get that 6+ fuel pain as well. I could be horribly wrong. Let's just check Canis Rex real quick. Does he have actual Imperial Knight? Nope. Yep. If you just have the Imperial Knight faction keyword, I'm pretty sure you get all of the entire army at 6+. Yeah. Just goes to show that I'm not 100% on the thing. We have Mythic Hero, hand that out. Armigers, they're just armigers, Reaper Chain Cleavers, Thermal Spears. Those Thermal Spears hurt. I think they're like strength 12 or something. These Thermal Spears running around are actually can completely chunk enemy knights on top of just the Warglaives themselves. Like, Warglaives are hard to take out, like armigers in general are hard to take out. And now you have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 armigers and 2 big knights for 2k points on the nose, it seems. Yeah, that's you have Canis Rex being Canis Rex, and then you have the Knight Warden there with the Avenger Gatling in the backfield, who is maybe not, he's got Thunderstrike Gauntlet. He's running up the board or on the board with the armigers shooting at everything. It's going to be a struggle, and that's why he came in first. It's see just real quick just what he went up to in the final round. Let's see. It was, I'm assuming this is the 5th round. So he just basically went into something that he probably teched into fighting this list. So this is the Chaos Knights oops all big boys with some friends, because you get the Rodigus. It's a very dangerous list, this type of list. But yeah, he most likely, what was this? Bearings 1. It looks like they got close. So he beat him by 73-91 on that Pat Locker Glacier. Yeah, so this is the duel to the death, and I think Magistrata found the secret sauce in the night matchup with just spam armigers. So I think that's probably, that spam armiger is probably going to show up more. Maybe it's just a one-off thing, but I doubt it, because it's been good since before this, and now it's just back to being standard. So here is the next list for the Tau, though. I believe, where is he? He came in pretty far down, if I remember correctly. Yep. Tony Nguyen, he went 3-2, came in 24th. I believe this is a 68-person tournament. Yep, 68. So he did okay. He wasn't the best showing, but he's still pretty good. This is a variation of the Kroot Hunting Pack. I think this is the first time I'm going to actually come with my opinion of Kroot are going to get nerfed hard in the next balanced data slate. And I mean like 10-point increase on Rampagers. Kroot Talks are going to go up 5 points a model type of stuff. Because I'm pretty sure right now Kroot Hunting Pack have like a 63% win rate. I don't know the exact win rates off the top of my head. I think Tau is sitting at like a 46 right now, but Kroot Hunting Pack is like a 62, but all the other detachments are sitting at like a 45s or so. Okay, so you got Darkstrider Warlord. He's going into Pathfinder Squad. Where is he? Is there Pathfinder Squad for Darkstrider? Nope. Oh. And so he's just there. Huh. Because normally you don't need Darkstrider unless you have Pathfinders. And then you can kind of spread the Pathfinders out to increase his no-go aura. Or you run Kroot Hawk Flock on your Kroot Lone Spear so they can't shoot him. You have the Ethereal for CP regeneration. So he's just throwing Darkstrider on his own backfield for the deny. So that's pretty good. I don't know how good that is on its own, because like he is kind of a small dude. Like, yeah, it's a 12-inch no deep strike, but he's only a 28mm base. So it's like an 1.5-inch circle. Not even 1.5 inches, smaller than that. I got my numbers off. I'm sorry. I don't know. I only know freedom units, forgive me. So, and then you got the standard. So this is the Kroot Flood list, but with no leaders to go in the Kroot. So that's a little different. So normally you have like a War Shaper, or I think the Trail Shapers, to try to make these to make the Kroot a little better so they can die a little harder. Because you only get now, because he's like because of the Kroot nerf for that was it, like 20 points up or something like that, for 10 points up for the 20-man. Yeah, 140 versus 130. This is a 20-point drop. So yeah, that's literally, I'm pretty sure that's your Kroot Hot Flock on that Lone Spear. Got to be removed from this list. But yeah, the double carnivores, you're basically up 140 points on the enemy. Kroot carnivores, they're just going to be there to just, tar pit, have the enemy unit charge into them, and then you got triple hammerhead. I don't think right now Kroot Hunting Pack is not going to stop taking tanks. I think the tanks and gorilla playstyle is probably the better of the two, unless you're just doing full Kroot flood. It's like Kroot carpet and tanks and gorillas. You got Kroot hounds, as always. They're just cheap trade units. You just throw on things and do stupid stuff. And then the actual meat of the list, which is 18 Krootox rampagers and 9 Krootox riders. The rampagers are there for a counter charge and a charge. They're really durable in Kroot Hunting Pack because they have a ton of wounds, and having that 5-up, 6-up invulnerable is pretty nice. I don't believe they have stealth. I think they don't. Do they have stealth? I know most of their keywords, but like, it's always weird because they I was trying to dodge that flashbang. They don't have stealth, do they? Faction keywords. They got scouts, no stealth. Okay, so they don't have stealth, unlike their brethren. Where is the list? Unlike their Kroot brethren, they don't get stealth, which is good, because if they had stealth, they'd be even a better profile. They still have grenades though, so they're still doing insane amounts of damage in one turn. They can, like, I think one individual 6-man mathematically can take out a knight if they roll hot enough in the right, and the knight doesn't roll good saves. But yeah, the Krootox riders are there. They're just 9 autocannons, so they're just there to shoot things. They're not super amazing. Like, obviously, if they shoot into the thing the lone spear hit, like if you have knights into this list and you have like 9 Krootox riders shooting into a knight that got hit by a lone spear, then yeah, there's a good chance that knight's probably gonna get chunked. Not to mention, so prior, like last week, I said hammerhead gunships are kind of good on their own. They're pretty self-sufficient. You could even have just Darkstrider guide for them, but because they have that one full reroll to hit and wound for one shot a turn, that railgun shot always has full. They don't necessarily need stealth teams to do better. They just need someone to mark for them, and realistically, they can probably mark for each other. Like these two, one guy marks for these two, and then that's fine to go. Or even Darkstrider or the Ethereal marks with the marker drone. I don't know. It doesn't say if he took a marker drone. He most likely did on that Ethereal, so that he can mark, and then the Ethereal stays off the board for 3 turns, and then you put him in the backfield and then have him mark something. But yeah, this list is decent. I think there's a few things he could change to make it do better, but obviously, like, if he's doing the Kroot carpet, this is just the best way to run it right now. Take as much. I know there's a full Kroot carpet list where you even forgo the hammerheads, so that's always something you gotta watch out for. And then just right now, like, taking this list and then going after this Imperial Knights list. This Imperial Knights list will completely dumpster Kroot carpet, right? It's just designed to do that because they're going up against super high toughness, like the Armiger Helverins with autocannons will just mulch through Kroot carpet. So it's just one of those things. So we're going to the next tournament. It's the Ironweld Warhammer 40k Summer Assault ITC. I think it's a really long name, but yeah, Ironweld Warhammer 40k Summer. I believe we're doing the Depths Custodes. And first place, it's going to be Matthew Wood. Congratulations. You did a good job. You came in first. I believe it's how many people in this tournament? I think it's 40 or 50. 67, way off. I think it's the largest one of the singles tournament outside of the ATC that happened over the weekend. Yeah, he I believe he came in. What just happened? I clicked something. I clicked something I shouldn't have. So yeah, it's a Depths Custodes, Lions of the Emperor. It's pretty, not really cookie cutter. Superior creation on the Blade Champion. You're throwing the Blade Champion in a Custodian Guard squad. He's going to get up when he dies. A Blade Champion that revives himself is hard to shift. You have the Shield Captain, Admona Mortis. That's the one that makes his weapon do super strong. And Trajan Valoris. Trajan Valoris is always good with Moment Shackle. He can use it twice a game instead of once in Lions of the Emperor, from my understanding, because of that stratagem. You got 3 Custodian Guard squads. Blade Champion goes in 1. You've got Alaris Custodians. I'm pretty sure you separate them into 2 1-mans instead of a 2-man, but I could be wrong. Shield Captain, I don't know if you put into the Alaris unless the Shield Captain in a Loris Terminator can go in a Custodes squad, which I don't think you can. You got the Custodes grav tanks, so your anti-tank that you really need, long range anti-tank. Venatari or the jump pack Custodes, they're pretty good. What is the Venatari? I'm pretty sure that is a anti-infantry. Where is it? Venatari. Because it said the Venatari lance. Is that not? Oh, it's a melee. Oh, these are bikes. Are they the bikes? Oh my gosh. Are they the bikes? I think those are the bikes. I was thinking of the jump pack dudes. Swooping dive. No. These aren't the bikes. Yeah, they're the jump pack guys. Why am I thinking they're the bikes? I'm sorry. I'm like, I always get a lot of these names confused, especially with, because like nine times out of 10 with the Custodes, it's just insert random fake Latin and then custodian. Like Aloris, custodian guard, shield captain, Aloris turret. It's like kind of samey, but you know, I play Tau, so I don't think I can complain. Witch Seekers, you got your flamer, close combat, Sisters of Silence. They're just there to exist, probably sit on the backfield objective so your Custodes don't have to do it. And you know, they got decent anti-tank. They're only 50 points. Like, Jesus Christ, 50-point chaff unit and like a 3-up armor. I wish Tau had that. Look at prosecutors, same thing. They're just the bolt gun version instead of the melee one. 40 points. How many are there? So that is 1, 3. Okay, so there's only 4 of them from my understanding. So that's 10 points a model. So how does Tau deal with this list? Because like you also got the Inquisitor Draxus and they window slam into the custodian, one of the Custodian Guard squads, and she gives them super buffs that makes them really hard to kill. Because right now this list goes into Kroot Hunting Pack. Kroot Hunting Pack lists into this type of army, like the actual like armies that can go up against Kroot Hunting Pack and just take their lunch money is Custodians, like World Eaters, because it doesn't matter if you charge in your if I charge in my Kroot Rampagers, right, and I wipe your I leave one of your squad, like basically the one Custodian Guard squad lives at the end of it, right after all the mortals and the actual damage. You just drop a command point, find on death, and pick up the whole squad. And effectively, we just traded 1-to-1. The problem is that Kroot Rampager squad is literally the only thing I'm doing damage with, and I still have to trade out 2 more Custodian Guard squads, and then just solo Aloris Custodians and the grav tanks in the back, like, and then not to mention the Venatari that are dropping down, just killing me. So this type of list is kind of hard. Like, obviously, you kind of bubble wrap the Custodian Guard with like Kroot. But if you're doing tanks and guerrillas style, which is I like, again, I really don't think, like, the next list will just kind of prove that I think GW is going to nerf Kroot in general, and then probably bump up the points of Skyrays and Hammerheads. And I think that'll probably kill Tau as a faction, because it like, oops, tanks and guerrillas is probably the best way to play Tau right now. At least that or Kroot Carpet. And then if either of those two get nerfed, I think Tau drops back down to like a 43%. But yeah, this is kind of hard for Tau. I could definitely see it. You bubble wrap them with your 20-man Kroots, and then like, yeah, the Custodian Guard will probably pick up like 15 a turn. And okay, then now my Rampagers are in range to hit you with grenades and then do mortals on the charge and then try to kill you before the fight phase, so you can't get fights on death. And you know, got Trajan Valoris going. Okay, so actually no, I just realized Trajan Valoris can lead Custodian Guard squad. I had to remember that. So yeah, it's the Blade Champion, Trajan Valoris, Curia Draxus, and then the Shield Terminator Captain with Aloris or single mans that just drop into orbit, and then Caladius for just random things. Basically, these Aloris Custodians are like the equivalent of like Tau Vespit that do like a ton more damage and are way tankier. But yeah, it's a good list. That's why I won. That's why I came in first in a 68-man tournament. And I think we're going to see more Adeptus Custodes, especially after the nerfs to Imperial Knights. I think they're going to take up that like Deathguard, like the Deathguard almost role after the Imperial Knights nerf and the Deathguard nerf that'll come in the next couple of months. I guarantee it. So now we are coming to, okay, I just read his list name. Drew Salsborn, and he came in 6th at this tournament, so he did pretty well. And this is something I think is going to be more of the standard Kroot Hunting Pack lists, and yep, they fix up for Harambe, guys. I want to know why he's talking about that, because he got 19 gorilla, he got 18 gorillas in this list. So it is the Commander Shadow Sun. What are you Shadow Sunning? Okay, you got 3 Sky Rays. Yep, and you got the battle seats. Yep, this is literally just your. This is going to be the new, I think, meta for Tau, especially with knights on the field. I think if we shift away from knights and like more like medium toughness infantry, like elite infantry, similar to like Space Marines coming in with like a almost a what's it called, Storm Lance or anything like that. We see something like that, we're going to see probably less Kroot Hunting Pack and more Cao Yun. But yeah, Commander Shadow Sun, you're getting the reroll 1s. It's like a additive layer when they take out your stealth suits, because you don't have the protection stealth suits have in Cao Yun with the stratagem. But the Shadow Sun here, she's just there to give the reroll 1s, and then I guess try to generate a command point on your Kroot if they're nearby. I'm pretty sure hers works with Kroot. You got Kroot Carnivore, because again, you're not actually taking any Kroot outside of the gorillas, right? So you got 1 Kroot Carnivore squad just for that forward deploy. Sometimes you put a War Shaper in there to give them Kroot Hot Flock, and you just have them hold the back line instead of Commander Shadow Sun, which I saw the last one was. And then you got your 2 Railgun, 1 Ion, because you're not actually normally for your anti-elite, you take your hammer, you take Riptides over Hammerheads, but because you're doing tanks, because you need as many points to fit as many gorillas in your list as possible, you need to have actual ranged anti like Terminator equivalent, and that's where your Ion Cannon comes in. And then you got the 2 rail guns for additional like hard anti-tank that's gonna sit there to supplement your Sky Rays. And then core of the list, 18 gorillas and their 9 dads, you know. And this, I think this type of list is probably going to get nerfed. I can definitely see Rampagers going to 180, maybe even 185, and a 3-man Riders going to like 100 points, because GW doesn't like Tau having nice things, at least this edition. And I don't see how Rampagers right now get away with this. Because like all honesty, like Rampagers on their own outside of Kroot Hunting Pack and Auxiliary Cadre suck. Like they're good for damage, but like Kroot Hunting Pack makes them good because defensively they're tissue paper without that 5-up invuln and the 6-up, 5-up, 6-up invulns. And you get this from the Kroot Doctor Rampagers. The Riders are just there again. Sorry, 9 Riders are just hard to shift. It's like, imagine if a Tyranid dropped 9 Biovores on you. You're like, well, like I'm not shooting Biovores, and then their fists are actually decent. So let's actually double check what the Krootok's Rider looks like, because I know it's not like amazing. It's nothing to write home about, but it's just enough to be like, why did that exist? That, yeah. So 4 attacks, weapon skill 3, 6 damage. So that is 12 attacks, extra attacks, strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage. And then you get 8 attacks. I'm sorry, 6 more attacks at weapon skill 3, 401. So it's just decent, you know, melee that's going to look, okay, it's something super good. It's not as good as the Rampagers, but it's just enough to be like, they also have 6 autocannon shots. You know, it's kind of that type of stuff. And then they have like that weird Kroot Packmate thing where like, oh yeah, I can just whenever once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase, I'm pretty sure you can do that with each. With this ability, you can shoot, but when resolving those attacks, it can only target an enemy unit and only, yep. So I'm pretty sure if you have 3 squads of this, you can just shoot 6 autocannon shots whenever somebody shoots at a Kroot infantry unit. And unfortunately, I don't believe Kroot Rampagers have the infantry keyword, because if they did, that'd actually be nuts. So if the only infantry they have is that 10-man squad, and as you can see, there's no infantry on the Rampagers, because to be honest, if Kroot Rampagers had infantry, oh my god, that would be insane. And then obviously your necessary Sky Rays and Hammerheads with tanks and gorillas. The Sky Rays are there again because they're more consistent anti-tank and anti-elite infantry that this list doesn't have it on ranged attack, because they have a lot of anti-everything in melee with the Kroot Rampagers that are hiding behind walls, and then the two stealth suits that you're going to just be using for forward deploy to try to bait things out of position. Because if you try to like charge the stealth teams that are behind a ruin marking you, and you charge through the room and you hit the stealth team, well, now you're on the other side of that ruin facing down 3 Skyrays and 2 3 hammerheads, and you kind of got to figure out what you're going to do there, because that's enough to pretty much kill anything in the game in one round of shooting, outside of like some very like specific circumstances. Like I don't think there's much in the game that can survive that much shooting in one round of combat, because that comes out to like 800 points, and 800 points should be able to make back its points in 5 turns. So it's kind of the way it should balance out. And then obviously, if you try to go, if you're meleeing the stealth teams, you're also in range of the Kroot Rampagers. If you're shooting at them, you're in range of the tanks. So it's kind of like you actually have to trade into my stealth suits, especially because like Tau players on the tournament level, they are really good at protecting their stealth teams. Like you'd only be able to get 1 stealth team a turn. So you got the first 2, like, so you don't lose a stealth suit on turn 1 because they're hiding. And then turn 2, you put the stealth suit forward, kind of poking out barely out of cover, barely out of like ruin line of sight blocking. So basically, unless you move to see it, you're not going to see the stealth team. And then you have like 1 toe facing out, so it's like barely any line of sight you can draw. And then it's in cover because that stealth team's never not going to be in cover. And then it has the -1, so it's surprisingly durable for what it wants to be. And you peek out, you get the one mark, it gets obliterated, because you're gonna, if a stealth team can see the enemy, they're gonna be, your entire army can see him, type of situation, and you just obliterate them. And it's like, okay, well, now you can try to kill my stealth team that I hit, and if you don't kill them, it's gonna get a lot worse next turn, because now you have to push onto the board turn 2 and 3, and I still have multiple stealth teams instead of just the one. So yeah, outside of Shadow Sun, this list is pretty normal, I think, for the new list. And he came in 6th on, I believe, the largest single tournament of the weekend. I think we're going to see more and more of that type of list come out, because the Tau community, from what I've been seeing recently, has been really on board with 18 gorillas and their 9 dads. It's just one of those things where it's like the 9 Kroot riders are taking their kids to the kiddie pool, I guess, and people really enjoy it. But yeah, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. There weren't that many lists, because like unfortunately the meta's kind of like, as you can see, going through everything, the meta's kind of been stagnating around what everyone thought was going to happen, which is just knights, insert monofaction chaos, wild blood angel, some tyrannid. That's probably, this tyrannid list is probably the it's invasion fleet. I was wrong. I thought it was the new one, the Leviathan one, or the one where you pop up in and out of ground. I forget the name of it. But yeah, as you can see though, the it's pretty slim pickings for actual tournament lists. I think outside of like the Tyrannid stuff is probably not much super interesting. But yeah, so, like, so there's some cool Eldari ones. I wonder why this guy came 10th. Because he only had 4 games. He didn't play the 5th. Jesus, that sucks. He came in 10th, and these guys all played the 5. But yeah, for the most part, just Mono God, Chaos Space Marines, smattering of Tyrannids and Blood Angels and stuff like that, and then Knights, full flavors and Knights. That's kind of what the tournament's starting to be. It looks like we're starting to see more Adeptus Custodes, Sisters of Battle peek out. I know there's like a Leagues of Votann list that's starting to be developed. I'm going to give it a few. If I see it pop a tournament, I'll probably talk about it more. If there's a Tau list that did similar. But yeah, other than that, I think the meta starting to stabilize a bit more. I think in the next week or two, we're going to have like the hard tier list ability that most of the content creators are going to have out after these tournaments. I think there's some big tournaments coming in soon, so be excited for that. I can make some more content. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. It's a bit of a long one today, I guess. And I really do appreciate it if you watched all the way through. And if you did watch all the way through, obviously hit the like button, helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more every single week, I'm going to try to get at least one of these videos out, depending on what happens. And if you want to see it and you want a notification for it, hit the subscribe button, helps me out, and you get to see the content that you wanted to see. Yeah, if you have any comments or concerns, maybe I messed up, maybe there's a strategy I missed, or maybe you're one of the people I was talking about, and you want to give kind of a rundown of what you did, that helped me out a lot. Maybe maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about, and you want to tell me that I don't. Help me out. I'm always learning. I'm always willing to learn, because we're looking at basically the kings of Warhammer and trying to disseminate some of their knowledge to us. And the only way I can do that is by working with the community. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day.